The shadow of Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted sex offender, looms once more, threatening Sarah Ferguson's restored standing within the royal family, compelling King Charles to devise a strategy to protect the monarchy's reputation. The economic consequences extend to charities additionally supported by royal patronage, demanding a reassessment of their funding models. Data analysis forecasts a potential downturn in charitable contributions linked to the royals, requiring a proactive approach to reassure donors and safeguard essential funding streams. Revised figures now place the financial scope of Ferguson's entanglement with Epstein closer to $2, a significant escalation from the initially reported $15.0, thereby undermining her claims of distancing herself and potentially affect brand perception of businesses holding the royal warrant. The king's strategic response must address potential brand devaluation, possibly through diversification of marketing strategies, to safeguard businesses dependent on royal endorsements. Email correspondence reveals a disquieting effort to refine the wording of her public condemnation of Epstein, hinting at a level of familiarity that contradicts her public pronouncements, potentially influencing future media narratives and public relations strategies. The king's communication strategy should prioritize transparency and address public concerns proactively to preserve trust, perhaps through a series of town hall meetings. Epstein's alleged intimidation tactics, likened to Hannibal Lecter, complicate the situation, but do not absolve her of ethical responsibility, leading to a rapid disassociation by numerous charities, impacting their fundraising abilities and operational efficiency. The king's strategic intention could involve supporting these charities through alternative funding streams or public endorsements, mitigating the fallout from Ferguson's actions, perhaps by establishing a matching grant program. The Teenage Cancer Trust, Julia's House, the Natasha Allergy Research Foundation, and the Children's Literacy Charity have severed ties, highlighting the reputational risks, with data suggesting a possible decline in donations and volunteer engagement, requiring a strategic overhaul of their fundraising approaches. The king could leverage his influence to champion these charities, encouraging continued support from the public and corporate sponsors, perhaps by hosting a charity gala. Ferguson's history of missteps, including the toe-sucking incident and the fake sheikh episode, has strained public patience, overshadowing her charitable work and impacting consumer confidence in brands associated with her. The king's strategic approach should emphasize the positive contributions of other royal family members, highlighting their dedication to charitable causes, perhaps through a series of public service announcements. Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony suggests Ferguson played a key role in introducing Prince Andrew to Epstein, further implicating her and potentially influencing future legal proceedings and financial settlements. The king's legal team must meticulously assess the potential legal ramifications, developing a strategy to protect the monarchy's interests, perhaps by establishing a legal advisory panel. Prince Andrew, already marginalized, faces further isolation, amplifying the reputational damage and fueling public resentment over perceived double standards, potentially impacting tourism, revenue and foreign investment. The king's strategic response should focus on promoting the positive aspects of British culture and heritage while addressing public concerns about fairness and accountability, perhaps by launching a cultural exchange programs. While Prince Harry struggles for security provisions, the Yorks receive police escorts, fueling public resentment and questioning the monarchy's judgment, potentially impacting consumer spending and investor confidence. The Enterofy. King's strategic response should focus on promoting transparency and accountability in the allocation of resources, ensuring that decisions are perceived as fair and equitable, perhaps by publishing a detailed budget report. Canceling Ferguson presents its own challenges, potentially alienating a segment of the public who view her as relatable, and impacting the monarchy's ability to connect with diverse audiences. The King's Saint. Strategic response should focus on promoting inclusivity and diversity within the royal family, ensuring that all segments of society feel represented and valued, perhaps by creating a royal mentorship programs. Her past inclusion in royal events signals a degree of acceptance, making a complete expulsion inconsistent and unduly harsh, potentially impacting the monarchy's image as a compassionate and forgiving institution. The King's strategic response should focus on balancing accountability with compassion, demonstrating a commitment to both justice and mercy, perhaps by offering Ferguson a chance to publicly atone for her actions. The situation demands a strategic approach that balances accountability with compassion, minimizing exposure to public scrutiny, and mitigating potential reputational damage, while also considering the long-term impact on the monarchy's image and financial stability. The King's strategic response should be guided by data-driven analysis and expert advice, ensuring that decisions are informed and effective. The King could encourage the Yorks to adopt a lower profile, minimizing exposure to public scrutiny and reducing the risk of further scandals, while also promoting the positive contributions of other members of the royal family. This would require a coordinated communication strategy and a commitment to transparency and accountability. He could also emphasize transparency and accountability, encouraging Ferguson to cooperate with investigations and providing a full and honest account of her relationship with Epstein. GH would help to restore public trust and mitigate the negative impact of the scandal. This would require a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths and a commitment to ethical conduct. The King's decision will set a precedent for how the monarchy handles future scandals, potentially impacting investor confidence and the stability of the British economy. A failure, act decisively could erode public trust and undermine institutions' credibility, while a well-considered response could demonstrate the monarchy's commitment to ethical conduct. The King must also address royal extravagance, discouraging the pursuit of personal gain and promoting a culture of financial responsibility, which would help to restore public trust and ensure the long-term sustainability of the monarchy. This would require a commitment to transparency and accountability in the management of royal finances. The monarchy's future hinges on the King's Ferguson response, molding his reign's legacy and its power to connect with diverse audiences. His strategic decisions will determine whether the monarchy can maintain its relevance and legitimacy in the modern era. The King's challenge lies in persuading the Yorks to prioritize the monarchy's long-term future, requiring a candid conversation about the reputational damage they are causing, and potentially necessitating a Hannibal Lecter-style intervention to shift their perspective. This would require strong leadership and a willingness to confront difficult truths. The future of the monarchy hinges on King Charles's ability to navigate this crisis, determining whether the monarchy can maintain its relevance and legitimacy, with the Epstein scandal serving as a stark reminder of the ethical responsibilities that come with royal privilege. This requires a commitment to transparency, accountability, and public service. Jeffrey Epstein's specter continues high. News to haunt the royal family. Sarah Ferguson's renewed standing is now in jeopardy. King Charles faces immense pressure to safeguard the monarchy's image. The economic ramifications extend to royal-backed charities. These charities now face a critical juncture. Data suggests a potential decline in royal-linked charitable donations. A proactive strategy is crucial to reassure donors. Essential funding streams must be protected. Ferguson's entanglement with Epstein is now estimated at nearly $2 million. This is a significant jump from the initial $15. Her claims of distancing herself are seriously undermined. The brand perception of businesses with royal warrants could suffer. The king must address potential brand devaluation strategically. Diversifying marketing strategies might be necessary. Businesses reliant on royal endorsements need safeguarding. Email correspondence reveals troubling reports to soften her Epstein condemnation. This hints at a familiarity that contradicts her public statements. Future media narratives and PR strategies could be affected. The king's communication should prioritize transparency. Addressing public concerns proactive. AI is essential to preserve trust. Town hall meetings could be a viable option. Epstein's alleged intimidation tactics complicate the situation. However, they do not absolve Ferguson of ethical responsibility. Numerous charities have rapidly disassociated themselves. Their fundraising abilities and operational efficiency are impacted. The king could support these charities through alternative funding. Public endorsements could also mitigate the fallout. Establishing a matching grant program is a possibility. The Teenage Cancer Trust and her charities have severed ties. This highlights the severe reputational risks involved. Data suggests a possible decline in donations and volunteer engagement. A strategic overhaul of fundraising approaches is needed. The king could champion these charities using his influence. Encouraging continued support from the public and corporations is key. Hosting a charity gala could be an effective strategy. Ferguson's past missteps have strained public patience. The toe-sucking incident and fake shike episode linger. Her charitable work is overshadowed. Impacting consumer confidence. The king should emphasize the positive contributions of other royals, highlighting their dedication to charitable causes is crucial. Public service announcements could be a useful tool. Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony implicates Ferguson further. She allegedly introduced Prince Andrew to Epstein. Future legal proceedings and financial settlements could be influenced. The king's legal team must meticulously assess the potential ramifications. Developing a strategy to protect the monarchy's interests is paramount. Establishing a legal advisory panel might be necessary. Prince Andrew, already marginalized, faces further isolation. The reputational damage is amplified, fueling public resentment. Tourism revenue and foreign investment could be impacted. The king should promote the positive aspects of British culture. Addressing public concerns about fairness and accountability is crucial. Launching a cultural exchange program could be beneficial. Prince Harry's security provisions contrast sharply with the York's escorts. This fuels public resentment and questions the monarchy's judgment. Consumer spending and investor confidence could be affected. The king should focus on transparency in resource allocation, ensuring decisions are perceived as fair and equitable is vital. Publishing a detailed budget report could be a step forward. Canceling Ferguson presents its own challenges. It could alienate a segment of the public who view her as relatable. The monarchy's ability to connect with diverse audiences could be impacted. The king should focus on promoting inclusivity within the royal family, ensuring all segments of society feel represented and valued is crucial. Creating a royal mentorship program could be a good initiative. Her past inclusion in royal event signals a degree of acceptance. A complete expulsion would be inconsistent and unduly harsh. The monarchy's image as a compassionate institution could be affected. The king should balance accountability with compassion, demonstrating a commitment to justice and mercy is important. Offering Ferguson a chance to likely atone could be considered. The situation demands a strategic approach. Balancing accountability with compassion is essential. Minimizing exposure to public scrutiny is crucial. Mitigating potential reputational damage is paramount. The long-term impact on the monarchy's image must be considered. Financial stability is also a key factor. The king's response should be guided by data-driven analysis. Expert advice should also inform his decisions. Ensuring decisions are informed and effective is vital. The king could encourage the Yorks to adopt a lower profile. This would minimize exposure to public scrutiny. It would also reduce the risk of further scandals. Promoting the positive contributions of other royals is important. This requires a coordinated communication strategy. A commitment to transparency and accountability is essential. The king could emphasize transparency and accountability, encouraging Ferguson to cooperate with investigations is crucial. Providing a full and honest account of her relationship with Epstein is key. This would help to restore public trust. It would also mitigate the negative impact of the scandal. This requires a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. A commitment to ethical conduct is essential. The king's decision will set a precedent for future scandals. Investor confidence and the stability of the British economy could be impacted. A failure to act decisively could erode public trust. It could also undermine the institution's credibility. A well-considered response could demonstrate ethical conduct. The king must also address royal extravagance. Discouraging the pursuit of personal gain is crucial. Promoting a culture of financial responsibility is essential. It would also ensure the long-term and sustainability of the monarchy. This requires transparency in the management of royal finances. Ultimately, the king's handling of the Ferguson affair will shape his reign. It will determine the future of the monarchy. It will impact the monarchy's ability to connect with diverse audiences. His decisions will determine the monarchy's relevance in the modern era. The king's challenge lies in persuading Yorks to prioritize the monarchy. This requires a candid conversation about the reputational damage. It may necessitate a Hannibal Lecter-style intervention. This requires strong leadership and a willingness to confront difficult truths. The future of the monarchy hinges on King Charles's ability. He must navigate this crisis effectively. The monarchy must maintain its relevance and legitimacy. The Epstein scandal serves as a stark reminder of ethical responsibilities. These responsibilities come with royal privilege, transparency, accountability, and public service are essential. The king's strategic decisions must reflect these values. The monarchy's long-term survival depends on it. The public's trust must be earned and maintained. The king's actions will be scrutinized and judged. He must rise to the occasion and lead with integrity. The weight of history rests upon his shoulders. His decisions will shape the narrative for generations to come. The king must act wisely and decisively. The fate of the monarchy hangs in the balance. The time for action is now. The king must seize the moment. The legacy of his reign depends on it. But not insurmountable. With courage, wisdom, and integrity, he can succeed. The monarchy can emerge stronger and more resilient. The future is uncertain, but the possibilities are endless. The king must embrace the challenge and lead the way. The monarchy's future depends on his leadership. The king's decisions will define his reign. The future of the monarchy rests on his shoulders. The king's legacy is at stake. He must act wisely and decisively. The shadow of Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted sex offender, looms once more, casting a pall over the royal family and its future. Sarah Ferguson's restored standing within the royal family is now threatened, creating a ripple effect across the institution. King Charles is compelled to devise a strategy to protect the monarchy's reputation from further damage. The economic consequences extend to charities traditionally supported by royal patronage, forcing them to confront difficult realities. Data analysis forecasts a potential downturn in charitable contributions linked to the royals, a worrying trend that cannot be ignored. A proactive approach is needed to reassure donors and safeguard essential funding streams for these vital organizations. Revised figures now place the financial scope of Ferguson's entanglement with Epstein closer to $2 an ounce, a substantially sum that demands scrutiny. This is a significant escalation from the initially reported $15 raising serious questions about the extent of her involvement. Her claims of distancing herself are undermined by this revelation, casting doubt on her sincerity. The brand perception of businesses holding the royal warrant could be negatively impacted, affecting their bottom line. The king's strategic response must address potential brand devaluation, a critical step in protecting these businesses. Diversification of marketing strategies may be necessary to mitigate the risk. Safeguarding businesses dependent on royal endorsements is of paramount importance. Email correspondence reveals a disquieting effort to refine the wording of her public condemnation of Epstein, raising suspicions. This hints at a level of familiarity that contradicts her public pronouncements, fueling public distrust. Future media narratives and public relations strategies will undoubtedly be shaped by this revelation. The king's communication strategy should prioritize transparency and address public concerns proactively to preserve trust. A series of town hall meetings could provide a platform for open dialogue and address public anxieties. Epstein's alleged intimidation tactics, likened to Hannibal Lecter, complicate the situation, adding another layer of complexity. However, they do not absolve her of ethical responsibility, a point that must be emphasized. This has led to a rapid disassociation by numerous charities, a clear indication of the reputational risks involved. Their fundraising abilities and operational efficiency are directly impacted by this loss of support. The king's strategic intention could involve supporting these charities through alternative funding streams or public endorsements. Mitigating the fallout from Ferguson's actions is crucial to ensure the continued operation of these organizations. Establishing a matching grant program could incentivize donors and provide much-needed financial assistance. The Teenage Cancer Trust, Julia's House, the Natasha Allergy Research Foundation, and the Children's Literacy Charity have severed ties, a devastating blow to their operations. This highlights the reputational risks associated with the scandal, serving as a cautionary tale. Data suggests a possible decline in donations and volunteer engagement, a trend that demands immediate attention. To secure their future, charities must strategically revamp fundraising. The king's advocacy could galvanize public and corporate support, potentially culminating in a high-impact fundraising gala. Ferguson's history of missteps, including the toe-sucking incident and the fake sheikh episode, has strained public patience, eroding trust. These past indiscretions continue to haunt her, overshadowing her charitable work. This impacts consumer confidence in brands associated with her, creating a challenge for businesses. The king's strategic approach should emphasize the positive contributions of other royal family members, shifting the focus away from the scandal. Highlighting their dedication to charitable causes is crucial to restore public faith in the monarchy. A series of public service announcements could showcase their commitment to service and community. Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony suggests Ferguson played a key role in introducing Prince Andrew to Epstein, further implicating her and deepening the crisis. This revelation potentially influences future legal proceedings, financial settlements, adding another layer of complexity. The king's legal team must meticulously assess the potential legal ramifications, leaving no stone unturned. Developing a strategy to protect the monarchy's interests is paramount, ensuring its long-term stability. Establishing a legal advisory panel could provide expert guidance and knowledge support. Prince Andrew, already marginalized, faces further isolation, exacerbating his situation. The reputational damage is amplified, fueling public resentment over perceived double standards, creating a sense of injustice. This potentially impacts tourism revenue and foreign investment, affecting the British economy. The king's strategic response should focus on promoting the positive aspects of British culture and heritage, showcasing the country's strengths. Addressing public concerns about fairness and accountability is crucial to restore trust and confidence. Launching a cultural exchange program could foster goodwill and promote understanding. While Prince Harry struggles for security provisions, the Yorks receive police escorts, highlighting the perceived inequalities. This fuels public resentment and questions the monarchy's judgment, further damaging its reputation. Consumer spending and investor confidence could be affected by this perceived unfairness. The king's strategy response should focus on promoting transparency and accountability in the allocation of resources, demonstrating responsible stewardship. Ensuring that decisions are perceived as fair and equitable is vital to maintain public trust. Publishing a detailed budget report could provide clarity and address concerns about resource allocation. Canceling Ferguson presents its own challenges, creating a dilemma for the monarchy. It could alienate a segment of the public who view her as relatable, potentially backfiring. The monarchy's ability to connect with diverse audiences could be impacted by such a drastic measure. The king's strategic response should focus on promoting inclusivity and diversity within the family and authenticity. Royal family, embracing different perspectives. Ensuring that all segments of society feel represented and valued is crucial to maintain relevance. Creating a royal mentorship program could foster connections with diverse communities. Her past inclusion in royal events signals a degree of acceptance, making a complete expulsion inconsistent and unduly harsh, creating a perception of unfairness. The monarchy's image as a compassionate and forgiving institution could be affected by such a severe action. The king's strategic response should focus on balancing accountability with compassion, demonstrating a commitment to both justice and mercy. Offering Ferguson a chance to publicly atone for her actions could be a path towards redemption. The situation demands a strategic approach that balances accountability with compassion, a delicate balancing act. Minimizing exposure to public scrutiny is crucial to contain the thorough damage. Mitigating potential reputational damage is paramount to protect the monarchy's image. The long-term impact on the monarchy's image and financial stability must be carefully considered. The king's strategic response should be guided by data-driven analysis and expert advice, ensuring informed decisions. Ensuring that decisions are informed and effective is vital to navigate this crisis successfully. The king could encourage the Yorks to adopt a lower profile, minimizing exposure to public scrutiny and reducing the risk of further scandals. Promoting the positive contributions of other members of the royal family can help to shift the focus away from the controversy. This requires a coordinated communication strategy and a commitment to transparency and accountability, ensuring a unified message. He could also emphasize transparency and accountability, encouraging Ferguson to cooperate with investigations and providing a full and honest account of her relationship with Epstein. This would help to restore public trust and mitigate the negative impact of the scandal, demonstrating a commitment to truth. This requires a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths and a commitment to ethical conduct, setting a positive example. The king's decision will set a precedent for how the monarchy handles future scandals, shaping its reputation for years to come. Investor confidence and the stability of the British economy could be impacted by the handling of this crisis. Failure to act decisively could erode public trust and undermine the institution's credibility, weakening its foundation. A well-considered response could demonstrate the monarchy's commitment to ethical conduct, strengthening its legitimacy. The king must also address royal extravagance, a sensitive issue that resonates with the public. Discouraging the pursuit of personal gain and promoting a culture of financial responsibility is essential to restore public trust. This would help to ensure the long-term sustainability of the monarchy, demonstrating responsible stewardship. This requires a commitment to transparency and accountability in the management of royal finances, ensuring responsible spending. The monarchy's future hinges on the king's Ferguson response, indelibly shaping his reign's narrative and market relevance. Diverse audiences shaping its relevance in the modern world. His strategic decisions will determine whether the monarchy can maintain its relevance and legitimacy in the modern era, securing its future. The king's challenge lies in persuading the Yorks to prioritize the monarchy's long-term future, a difficult but necessary task. This requires a candid conversation about the reputational damage they are causing, confronting them with the Consequences of thou ear actions. It may necessitate a Hannibal Lecter-style intervention to shift their perspective, a drastic measure to address the situation. This requires strong leadership and a willingness to confront difficult truths, demonstrating courage and resolve. The future of the monarchy hinges on King Charles's ability to navigate this crisis, a defining moment for his reign. He must ensure that the monarchy can maintain its relevance and legitimacy, adapting to the changing times. The Epstein scandal serves as a stark reminder of the ethical responsibilities that come with royal privilege, emphasizing the importance of integrity. This requires a commitment to transparency, accountability, and public service, demonstrating a dedication to the common good. The king's strategic decisions must reflect these values, ensuring that the monarchy remains a force for good. The public's trust must be earned and maintained, a continuous process that requires consistent effort. The king's actions will be scrutinized and judged, shaping public perception of the monarchy. He must rise to the occasion and lead with integrity, setting a positive example for future generations. The weight of history rests upon his shoulders, a burden he must bear with grace and wisdom. His decisions will shape the narrative for generations to come, leaving a lasting impact. The king must act wisely and decisively, demonstrating strong leadership and sound judgment. The fate of the monarchy hangs in the balance, a precarious situation that demands careful consideration. The time for action is now, and the king must seize the moment with courage and conviction. The legacy of his reign depends on it, shaping how he will be remembered in history. The challenges are significant but not insurmountable, offering an opportunity for growth and renewal. With courage, wisdom, and integrity, he can succeed, guiding the monarchy through this difficult period. The monarchy can emerge stronger and more resilient, adapting to the challenges of the modern world. The future is uncertain, but the possibilities are endless, offering opportunities for innovation and progress. The king must embrace the challenge and lead the way, setting a course for a brighter future. The monarchy's future depends on his leadership, requiring vision and determination. The world watches with bated breath, eager to see how the king will respond to this crisis. The king's decisions will define his reign, shaping his legacy. Why? For generations to come? The future of the monarchy rests on his shoulders, a heavy responsibility that demands his utmost attention. The king's legacy.